This conference will now be recorded.
So in last class we saw what is a scope and what is pointers, and in scope we saw what is local, enclosing function, global and built-in. Do you have any questions or doubt in that? Okay. So today we are going to see 1 minute. Let me open that. Okay. So today we are going to see some different argument, kind of a weird thing. So yeah. So today we are going to see star arcs and star keyword arcs. So we can pass this as a parameter into the functions we are calling. Let's see why we need this and how to use this. Is it okay now, Sirisha?
Yes.
Mhm. So this is a function. For example, I have a function which is going to calculate the sum and then going to return 5% of sum. And I am passing two input. So this looks like a tuple, right? One value, comma, the other value. So here, this 40 is assigned to A because this is the first argument here. This is the first argument here. So this 40 is assigned to A and 60 is assigned to B, right? What if I have to pass 5 to 6 argument? I have to give here C, D, E. Maybe I can give here. But what if my C, D, and E are either 0 or I don't want to pass that while calling the function? Maybe I want these last two as a optional. I don't want to pass anything. So either I can pass 0 or here I can define everything as 0 initially so that even if I don't pass those values, it's not going to throw any error and consider that as 0. Only when it receives a value from the calling name, it only when it receives it updates the value. Otherwise, it consider the remaining two as 0. So you can run like this here C D E. So here you see the result is 8.5. It's not throwing me any error even though I just pass only 3 arguments out of 5. right? So if it is 5 or 3, I can pass. What if I have multiple, more than 10 or some arguments? So it's not efficient to use A comma B comma C comma D until for 10, right? It's not that efficient to create such program functions and call them like that. So what for that, what Python comes up with is called arbitrary number of arguments. What this called is, it's called arbitrary number of arguments. That means it can take n number of arguments. So based on the input, you calculate. So that's what it's trying to tell. So what I'll do, instead of doing this, I'll command this program out and then so here instead of creating and assigning, I'll give char. Here again, I'm going to give char args. Okay. So let's run this for Gwen. So here I can give either 3 or 5 or 6, anything would work fine. So here I'm passing arbitrary argument, a number of arguments. I'm not defining how many number it is. And then here I'm calling a sum function, which is an inbuilt function in Python, and giving all whatever argument you get, you pass here. That is what I'm instructing the function to do. And then we have two results. Let's run this. Cannot use shared expression. What is the problem here? Okay, so here I have to give, I shouldn't be giving star. Okay. So here, while defining a function, I'm giving star arg, which means multiple parameters. So when I click on this, you see above something is written, parameter args, any parameter you can pass here. And here I should be removing the star. So I have saved it. So here you see, first time I have passed 3 and the second time I'm passing 6 parameter. For both of the number of parameter, it is working fine. Clear? So here, do we have to always use only args? We can use anything. I'll give num and here I'm going to give num. I've saved it. Let me run it. So it's giving me the same output. But this is a expression they by default they use, which means a number of argument. A star means any number and number of argument they are telling. And I can replace with any name, like how we give a new name in variable in if or for like that. So next what we are going to see is, So next is arbitrary number of keyworded arguments. That is why we have keyword, keyword arguments, which actually builds a dictionary key value pair in your function. So let's see an example. I have a function and I have parameter as keyargs. And how do I call that function is like this. Key is a fruit and value is pineapple. So if so here I'm telling if in the given input if fruit is red, then print me that fruit. So if I pass a value key, dictionary of key, then it is going to give me a value, right? Isn't it? So okay. What is my dictionary? What is my dictionary one? It is fruit apple, right? And if I am calling like this, dictionary one, it is going to give me apple. If I call the dictionary by key, if I give key as an index kind of thing, it is going to give me a corresponding value, right? So similarly, I have given for this argument, whatever argument we got, this is the key fruit, get me the value. So this is going to print the value of the fruit, right? Let me comment this out as well. So here is my function and here is my result and I'm going to print the result. Let me save this. Why it's showing result is none. Okay, so I need not print. I already have the print statement here inside. So we are not returning anything in this function. So here, what I'm doing, I'm calling this function. I'm calling this function and it is telling my favorite fruit is pineapple. So that is what we expected, right? What if I need not have this as well? I'm not pausing anything. So for the first function call, it is telling my favorite fruit is pineapple. And for the second thing, there is no argument. There is no fruit in kiosk. So it is printing me the else condition. So it is telling I don't like any fruit. Is it clear? I can now here add Join. Okay, let's now do this. So we saw what is arg and what is keyword arg. Now we will combine both in the function. We will give both arg and keyword arg. So let's see an example. So here always arg should appear before keyword arg. It should be only in this order. You cannot swap the order. So here let me do one thing. What I can do, what all the keywords I can add is egg. So these are my argument and this is my keyword arg. I can just pass only one dictionary. So we before we tried multiple adding multiple, it is failing. But you can add multiple arg and one value of keyword. I mean dictionary. I can add one more dictionary also, like I can give like this. I can give two dictionary because two keyword argument we are passing, two argument we are passing. Clear? So we are passing two argument and part of keyword we are passing two keyword argument. Here, let me change. Let me give something else here. If fruits and juice in argument, if both are there, then print. Let me give f string because I'm telling may have some and I'm calling this keyword argument I'm calling juice, so it is going to give me orange. So may have some orange juice. And my favorite fruit is this, and I can do one more thing. So here I am not calling argument, right? So here I can give print. I like to eat. So here I can pass to argument two times, or I can do what I can do. Let me change it to f string, and here I can give dot join and join with and. So here I'm telling take the arguments. What are the arguments? Egg and eggs and cucumber, and join with and keyword. So using, since I already have double quotes here it's not allowing me to add double quotes. So I changed it to a single quote. There was error and so here I'm telling take all the argument and join them with and. So it will be like I like to eat eggs and cucumber. So let me save this. So here my favorite fruit is pineapple, this line. And may I have some orange juice? So this line is printed. And I like to eat cucumber, eggs and cucumber. So here what I could do is before and after I'm giving a space and since I have one more call which has no data inside it, it is telling I don't like any fruit. So let me see this again. So here you see the space is applied, eggs and cucumber. I like to eat eggs and cucumber. Let me do one thing. I already said the first argument, first always it should be arg, and second parameter, if you want to pass both, the argument comes before keyword argument, right? So here, let me change the order. Here I'll put the first I'll put keyword arg, and then later I'll put argument. So here only it's showing me error. So view problem, no quick fix available. Positional argument cannot appear after keyword argument. So that argument, this one, the first argument, they call this as a positional argument, this as a keyword argument. So what they are telling, positional argument cannot appear after the keyword argument. So that is what they are telling. They understood the problem and they are suggesting this to us. Similarly, so I have said here I need not I always to use args, I can use num, but same thing here I should be using num. And similarly, here I can use dictionary and here I can use. So this also would work. Okay, so this is a problem. Let me comment this out. It is giving me the same output. So it's by looking at the star asterisk only, they will understand that this is the argument, positional argument, and since it has double asterisk, this is a keyword argument. Clear, guys? So we have completed 3 modules so far. Function, methods, statements, variables, and loops. And also all the data structure like list, keyword, list, dictionary, tuple. So now we are going to a bigger topic, which is object-oriented programming. Oops. Actually, oops is a major obstacle for most of the beginner. They struggle here because they find it's a little uncomfortable. They little confusing. So let's go step by steps. First, we will see what is object and how to create a class and what all the class attributes and how to create methods inside the class. So OOPS will allow you to create your own object and class. So you can create your own type of data structure and you can create your own method, own function. So we have seen list is equal to 3, right? And then I can give lst dot count. So let's start count. It is it is giving in which index there's 2 is there. It is there or not, and in which index. So this is a function method written for this object called list. Whenever you use list, you can use this method. So how you are calling object dot method, right? So in this course, this object oriented, we will see how do we create an object type like list, and how to create we already know how to create a function, but we will see how to create a function for that particular object, so that we call like this. Usually how do we create function, either using def keyword or lambda. And if you are using def keyword, you will be calling directly the function name, and inside the brackets you'll be giving a parameter if it needs parameter, right? But we haven't created any method for object, so that we will call like, we have never did this, right? We have not created any method like this, and we never called like this our own user defined method. That we will see in objects. Oops. Okay, so let me give type of one. What would be the output for this? What would be the output?
Int.
Okay. So Sirisha, you want to explain about join, is it?
Yeah.
So here, what join would do? Join will take both the arguments, and you can tell what is the parameter between these arguments you want to pass. For example, here Avex cucumber, I can give one more item, salad. So it knows these all argument, right? I'm taking this all number. These three are called number. So I'm taking number, and let me show one more thing. I guess I have explained joins before, but let me show. So string one is equal to Python. So here my string is Python. If I give sorted of str1, it gives me a list. So we have a list, right? We have multiple values inside it. So if you want to join everything together, if I want to convert a list into something I want to join, what I can do is I can give dot join, and what I have to pass, I want to pass this list. So this list is called like this, like, right? So I pass the list. So here I also should, so this will join, take all the values, and it will join, right? And I also have to mention here what is the character I want to uh, have in between those values in the list. So here I can give comma. Here I can give comma. Let me give enter. So it is giving me this. So in the above example, I can remove the comma, which means nothing is needed between those words. So here it is giving me this. So join is to join multiple values.
Okay. Multiple values together.
Yeah.
Right.
So here I'm giving what I have to do. I mean, what I have to give in between those values. So that is what
Uh,
I give here. So this is how the
yeah,
join looks here.
and is that is the one you
Yeah.
gave.
So
Okay,
here and I'm giving and there was I'm giving space so that after egg I get some space and here also I get some space. Clear?
clear.
Okay. Thank you. So here what we were saying, yeah, what is type? So type, you can apply type only to the object. What you are asking, what is the type of this particular object? So integer is an object. That is why it's showing when I give number, it is giving int. So let's see. See here, you see it is telling class, right? It's an object. That is why it is telling it as a class. So all the objects are created using the class keyword. All the user defined, and also this is already defined. We will not know how they have created this object, right? But whenever we define our own object, we will be using class to create the object. So this tells this is an object. So let's see type of this. I'm not passing anything. The data is null, but still it's a list, right? Type of this,
This,
it's a
yeah,
dictionary.
listener.
It's a string. It's a tuple. So these all has a word called class when I ask for what is the type of this particular object. So because object is created using class, so it is telling whenever you see class, then you know this is an object. So tuple is an object and we are finding, so we are passing tuple anyway inside the type and asking what is this object called. It is telling tuple. So how can we create our own object types? We can create it using class keyword. So So here I want to tell one more thing. So we we have, so for example, list. So let me recreate. So this is list, right? We have created list. I'm asking type of LSG. So it is telling it's the object called list. It's the type of this is object list. So here we created an object called LSG and it is an instance of list object. So this is an object, the main object list, but under this object, we can create an instance to call that object. So that's called instance, which means they have defined in Python list is a list, and this is how you have to create. But I can give different name, and I can give a variable, and I can give any different value. That is called instance of the object. This is object. This is the instance of the object. So when you want to use this object, you have to have an instance, right? Directly with list, I cannot do anything. I should have a variable name, and then I have to assign, reassign, manipulate it, right? So this is called instant. LST is an instance of list object. Okay. We can call this also an object. This is also an object, but this is the instance of this object. Let me show one more example. So here, what is this called? str.
Class object.
Okay. So this is object, right? Since it has class, we know it is an object, object str. And what is str1?
Instance of the object.
Okay, instance of which object?
Uh, str.
Okay, instance of string. This is a full form as a string, right?
String,
So
right.
instance of this object is str1. So when we want to create a string object, we have to have a variable and then we have to pass a value. So looking at this single quotes only, I can tell this is a string object, right? And if it has no string, no single quotes, I can give list also here. I can give lst, but if I give like this, it is known that it's a integer object, isn't it? So here I'm giving lst. So this is integer, and we are creating an instance of integer to access the integer. We cannot directly do anything with integer, right? This is a kind of a template. They are telling there is some object called integer and it will have only number and you shouldn't be giving any single codes while we use this. So they are giving a template, and following the template I'm creating an integer instance of an integer object, which is this is also called object, and I'm creating it and manipulating. I can do some, I can do anything with this number, right? Similarly here, class. So this after class, whatever name you give to the class, this should always be in capital. The first letter should always be in capital. So here we are creating a new object called sample. I have shown you pass, right? So when I don't want to complete the program, I just want to create a skeleton, I can just place this as a placeholder, pass as a placeholder. So later I might write something here. So here x is equal to sample. I am giving x is equal to sample. So here this is object and I'm creating an instance x of from the object. Instance, the real meaning of instance is nothing but example. How do we have, what is the meaning of instance in English is either example or sample or illustration. We are illustrating what is what this is. So here X is an example of object, this object, kind of instance of an object, okay? So this is a new object we are creating and this is an instance of an object. So how do I know this is an instance of object? Because I'm giving equal to sample. I'm giving the object name here. This is a way to create an instance. So here, these were already these were, I mean, inbuilt object, str, integer, everything. So I need not give equal to str. I need not give str1 equal to str. I need not give this. But whenever you create your own object and you create your own instance, you have to you have to create in that way. So this is your new object and this is how you create your instance. So so this is my object, right? Sample. And here I want to check the type. Let me save this. So it is telling whenever I give type, it is telling class integer, right? It is telling this LSC is integer, object integer. So here it's telling class and it's telling main, ignore this, it's telling sample. So this X is a type of an object called sample. Instance, the type of this X is sample because this is an instance of this object sample. Is this clear or I'm still confusing you? Clear. Okay, cool. So I can tell that X is a reference of this object sample. And one more way of telling reference is instantiate or instance. So when you think of instance, consider it as a reference. Here, LST is a reference of list, and this LST is a reference of string, a number. This is a number object, and I'm referring the number object here. Integer object, sorry, integer object. Here it is a list object. So similarly, here X is a instance. But the only difference is I have to tell which is the instance, and this is a way to tell. This is a format you have to give every time to tell that this is the instance of object called sample. So you will not be confused whenever I use object or instance of object in the future, right? I can use that. I can tell anything is an object and instance of object. You will understand it, right? So in inside class, we currently just have pass and but we can create our own method. For this object, we can create method like in how in list we have a method called count. We use list.count, right? So similarly, we can create our own method here. Then later I can access that method. So here list is an object, right? List is an object and it has a method called count inside it, right? So this is already defined in Python. So I have instance. I created an instance now. When I give this, it means that I'm in creating an instance. So here I'm giving equal to sample open bracket close bracket, right? Here if I give this, which means that is an instance. That is why when you saw this, we see here, when you give open and close bracket, which means that itself an list. So this is how they created list. They are telling if you want to refer this list, you just have to give open and close bracket. So that is what we are giving equal to list. This means instantiating, right? We are creating an instance. Here instead of open close bracket, we are giving this the name, the directly the name we are giving, and we are giving open and close bracket, right? So here we are creating an instance, and I'm just passing parameters. Okay, so here a list is created. So this is called object. This is a method inside the object. This is an instance. How do I access this method inside the object? This method is already created. How do I access the instance I have created? No, that I'll use then count. So this is how I access the method. The method, whatever is defined, the same name I'll be using. And this is an instance of an object. Is it clear? Okay, cool. This is where most of the students will get confused. So I'm ready to give multiple example also if it's not clear. Okay, we understood what is object and we understood what is instance. We understood how to call the method of an object. So now since we have passed, I'll be writing some, creating something here. So method is nothing but a characteristics of an object. So count is a characteristic or yeah, it is a characteristic of list object. That characteristic dictionary cannot use. Some of the pop is a characteristic of list. That characteristic dictionary cannot have because they have not created such characteristic inside dictionary. So that is why the pop is not used anywhere else. It is only created only for list. Okay, for example, if we have a class called dog, nothing but dog is a object, right? And we have a characteristic like breed. No, we have an attribute. Attribute means we are passing something inside it, like list one, two, three. So the attributes are breed, its name, its color, but the characteristic is bark. So bark is a characteristic I create inside the dog. So only dog can bark. The other animal cannot bark. They may be created as an object, but they'll have a different characteristic. So similarly, whatever you create inside object, that is called, mainly we call it in programming language world, we call it method, right? But which means like you can assume like how bark is a method inside dog, which is a characteristic of dog. Similarly, we can create any method inside the sample. Okay, and I can, how can I access the method? I just have to create an instance and dot and the method name. So that is how I can access the method. So whatever logic written inside that method will be done when I call that method. So here they have created some logic which will go and find if number two is there inside the list. if it is there, it will go and check what is the index, and that index is what it is returning always, the count. Okay. So ignore, I mean, forget everything about characteristic, attribute. You just have to know object, instance, and method. That's all. So the method, whatever is created inside this object, can be accessed only by this instance, right? Because LST is the instance of list. I can access pop only through LST. I can, if I create one more instance for dictionary, DICT, I cannot access pop using DICT. I cannot do that. Only with LST I can do that because it is a instance of list, right? Okay. Now,
Anu, can you
mhm.
explain class in an example like whatever with the characteristic like that? If you take some car model, like example, I guess want to see the how to create and call the methods like
No, I
that.
didn't get your question actually.
Uh, like sample example. eh,
Yeah, we are going to create a sample example. Yeah. So
Yeah,
you have
like
to, I mean,
include.
you understand.
Yeah,
Correct.
I
Yeah.
understood. Yeah, I understood everything, but I just want to have a clear examples like how to
Yeah,
create
we will be
create.
creating it.
Okay.
So if you understand this and whatever we create, you will understand. Let's create it now. So every class will have a special method called init. So usually how do we create a function or method? Function or method both are same only. Whenever you create inside object, it's called method. You have to access with dot method name. Function, you can directly call the function name, right? So what all the function created inside an object is called method. That's all. So here I'm going to create a function which will become a method because we're creating it inside a class. I mean, we are creating inside an object. Okay, so here always whenever you have a class, that is you're creating an object and your function will have this special syntax. So this is how you have to give, and this is a parameter. For example, let me create a class called dog. So here I'm giving breed. So here this is a parameter. This can be anything, but the remaining syntax should be exactly same. It should be def. It should be def, and then instantiate init method. They call it as an init method, and then self should be always there, which is because we are telling this whenever you see self, you know that it belongs to some object. Okay, so this is always the same. The syntax should always be the same. So this is my object and this is my method. So now I, instead of having X, I can give Frank is having a dog. I have created an instance and here I'm telling breed equal to husky. Okay. So here, whenever we call a class, the instantiation, and during the instantiation only, we are passing the value. So I'm telling in breed, pass husky here. Whenever you call the object and you can pass the husky here. So the breed will become husky.
Oh, can you explain line 4?
So here I'm telling self dot breed. This dog breed is equal to whatever I get. Okay, so when I print all these things, you will understand on minute. And Sam is having a dog, and its breed is, so see here it's already telling breed is anything you can give inside, but you have to give breed like this. So breed is Labrador. So I'll give lab here. Okay. So I've created this. Let me pass this now. Let me try to print an output.
And do you have to give breed equal to
Sorry,
like
yeah,
for
it's equal to.
okay, okay.
So here I'm printing and okay. So this is an object, LST, like how we have LST here. This is, it's called Sam because that's the instance we have created. And I am calling a method count. So here I'm giving dot breed. I want to get the breed, which I have passed because usually in list you only pass the numbers, right? It is not already created. I'm giving lab. So let me run this. So it is telling lab. So here it's telling Sam's dog is of breed lab and Frank's dog is of breed husky. We don't have any parameter after breed. So for example, here you have a parameter after, I mean, you have open and close bracket after count because you are going to pass something, right? So here I'm not going to pass anything. So that is why I don't have open and close bracket. It doesn't have any attributes. It doesn't, we don't have to pass any argument or parameter. That is why we don't have here open and close bracket. So Frank dot breed. Breed is a method inside this object called dog, and here we are instantiating that dog here. Like how initially we instantiated using square bracket. That's all. Whenever you give square bracket, it is already instantiated, and you're using parameter inside it. So here, whenever you give dog, it, I mean, here instead of square bracket, we have to give the object name directly. And in the open and close bracket, I'm also passing the argument, right? Here, as you are passing argument here, you're passing here the argument. And then here we have a method called breed, and that breed is, so usually how do we give def any function name sum. So here this is a method, this is a function name or method. Since it is inside object, we call this method, right? But since we have a special syntax here, whatever you give after self is called method. So that particular method is called here. Only thing is open and close bracket is missing here because it is not having any argument inside it. Okay, is it clear till now?
No, line 4 of self dot breed, that is hyphen or equal to?
Equal to.
That is equal to, it's looking like hyphen for me. Okay.
Oh, no, no, it is equal to. So
Okay,
here
okay.
what I'm telling, I'll get some input, right? That input I'm putting inside breed. That's all. Whatever
Okay,
input
got it.
I'm getting. So here breed is equal to ASCII. That breed is what I'm passing it here. And here I can create one more. Maybe we can see tomorrow. I'll come up with even better example for so that you will have more understanding. So we always have to give self. Yeah, we always have to give self here. This is apart from read, no, the remaining syntax should always be same. You cannot give anything else. It should be photocopy of what I have written in line number 3. So going forward, you will always see this in your program, like how we always create a function, or we always have written, how we always have print, and how we always call. So this we can practice to use all these things, right? So going forward, you'll always see class, you will always see this line, and you will always instantiate, and you will do all your logic. If you have to create your own own object and methods inside that object, you have to do this. Is it clear till here? I mean,
Yes,
till how
yes.
we, okay, 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 then we can see tomorrow, guys. Let's
So
wind
just
up
like
here.
integer, list and all, we are just creating some other type of objects.
Object,
Those are
yeah,
also
some other
objects,
type
and
of,
this
yeah,
here dog is a object for us.
yeah, correct. So before sample was an object, right? When I created an
Yes.
instance X, so it is showing me what is the type of that instance, it's showing me sample. If I now find what is the type of this instance, Frank, it will show me dog.
Dog. Okay. Type of Frank. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thanks all. Bye.